Welcome back to an exciting video, and what we're talking about today are my two favorite pentatonic shapes, two shapes that you must know, and some cool things that you can do with them. That is correct. Another video over pentatonics, and I'm sure everybody's extremely happy to hear that, because I'm sure there's 7 billion videos already on pentatonics, and so we're going to make it 7 billion and one. But I wanted to go over this because these are things that I do, and I had a guy a while back, he was asking me about it. He's like, I see you playing the pentatonic, but I see you adding in all these third notes. Why are you doing that? And I said, well, because it's easier for me to play fluid, playing in a pentatonic scale, but really kind of playing the minor scale instead. And there's two scales that this works beautifully inside of. And it is the, one scale, we're going to A minor for the sake of argument, but two positions, and it just happens to be the first and the fourth position. Now, I love these positions, and these are positions I think everybody should know. And especially if you're a Gary Moore fan, Gary Moore lives in the first and fourth position of the pentatonic scale, and everybody uses it. David Gilmour uses it constantly. Eddie Van Halen uses it constantly. And this has kind of become, when I'm soloing, these have kind of become my home points for the minor pentatonic scale, but also for the minor scale. I've adapted my playing style to pick up the pentatonic scale and easily convert it straight into the minor scale. And that opens up a lot of doors when you are soloing. So we're going to be moving through this pretty fast so it doesn't get too long. So we're going to kick off right here. We're going to do this whole thing in A minor. We're going to start right here at the 5th fret. You know what the A minor is. So I'm just going to, forgive me, but I'm going to go over it one more time just in case there's that one person in the world watching this video that does not know the A minor pentatonic scale in the first position. And I'm doing this today on my wireless. Here's my wireless pack. This is my newer Shure wireless. I hate cables. Can't stand them. Get in my way. Drive me crazy. Get wrapped up around my feet. Make me fall on my face on the stage. And make me look like a bigger fool than I already am. So I thought, you know what? My wireless is hooked up from when I was with my band last weekend. I'm just going to use my wireless. So we got the old wireless out. And if you are curious about wireless and you want to know more about my Shure, let me know, and I will give you the information about it, because it has been brilliant to this point with 0 dropouts and no problems whatsoever. But moving on, so like I said, everybody knows the first pentatonic shape. Now, the reason we love this particular shape is because it is very repeatable, it's very easy to work in, and it's very easy to understand. I mean, it's crazy simple because it just constantly repeats itself. Starting on the high E, if we're coming backwards, we have 4-1, 4-1, then a bunch of 3-1s, then a 4-1. And it's very easy to understand. It's easy to play, and it's very easy to relate when you're soloing. Especially once you know where your tonics are in the first position, then you can just go crazy in it. And the way this scale happens to be laid out, position 1, it just works brilliantly for licks and all kinds of tricks and getting back to your tonic. Now, as you know, our tonic is our root note. If we're playing an A minor, our tonic is going to be an A. A, A, A. And then if we go up here to the 8th fret on the B string, A. So we have all these tonics that we can constantly refer back to when we're soloing to kind of help solidify the key that we're playing in. And everybody's heard this a million times. That one little lick. And what they're doing is they're resolving back to their tonic. And everybody's done this in this position. Because we're resolving back to our tonic. Now, the great thing about this, besides the fact that it's repeatable, if we borrow 5 notes from the second position, because let's be honest, nobody solos here. That's just an odd position, this second one. But if we borrow these 5 notes, all of a sudden it opens us up a little more. And the beauty about that is we have this, and this is an exact repeat. These 4 notes are these 4 notes. And this gives us another tonic right here. So instead of always bending up to it, we can just go to it. So it gives us all these tonics, and it works out wonderful in this particular scale. And this scale is just brilliant for riffage. I mean, how many times have you heard that? I mean, a billion times. And it works out wonderfully, and it's great for doing these great double stops. And you don't even have to really think about it. You're just doing everything in the pentatonic scale, the first position. Then we're going to add these from the second back to the first. Then, we'll jump down to the fifth. And then we'll just kick it right back up into the first. And so the first position works out absolutely brilliantly. And what I love to do is I always incorporate the minor scale into my minor pentatonics. What do I mean by that? I always add in the second and the sixth note. That way, if I'm just sitting here just, trilling away in my pentatonic scale, doing whatever it is I want to do, but I want to do some kind of quick little blazing run, I will drop in the sixth and the second note. And this gives me something I can really kind of pick up a little speed on. And it really just kind of helps add a little fuel to my fire when I'm soloing. Now, what I normally do is I will solo in the pentatonic scale, but then I will jump in and out of the minor scale completely by that sixth and that second. And as you can see, playing that, because C is the relative minor of A, we can make it resolve to C brilliantly. So if the song is actually in C major and I want to solo in it, well, I can just solo in my A minor pentatonic shape, and then I just find my roots for my C, and then that brings home that tonic and solidifies that key, but I'm soloing and doing all the same exact stuff. If it's an A minor or C major, I'm doing the same exact thing. I'm just stopping on a different note, which would be a C at this case. Well, if that's an A minor, it resolves back to C brilliantly. Okay, but that doesn't sound like it's in the key of A minor if you're resolving back to C. Well, actually it does. If we add, let's say, our 5 notes from our second position, and it resolves right back to A just as well. So you can make it resolve to either way you go. It just really kind of depends on where you're starting and stopping your solos at. Now, the other position that I absolutely love is the fourth position. And the reason is because it's virtually just like the first position. If our first position is this, and we're in A minor, now, for all intent and purposes, stay with me. We're still in A minor, even though this will actually not be A minor. But if we change this pattern to this, we're only changing one note. We're moving this to here and this to here. Now, if we take that pattern and we move it up to the 12th fret, now we're in the fourth position of A minor. I think I played this. I did. And as you can see, it's virtually almost identical to this. So it gives us that real great sense of familiarity to it. And the nice thing about it is you can basically use all the same great licks just as easy without really having to change the fingering all too much. So since you've already got this one locked down, this first position, it's very easy to transition into the the fourth position. And Gary Moore was brilliant at this, as is David Gilmour, by adding in that second and that sixth and opening up their pentatonic scale a little bit. Now, normally, if If I do not solo more in the fourth position, I solo just as much as I would the first position. Well, why is that? Well, remember when I said if we take these 5 notes from the second position? Well, if we grab these 4, which is this, but look at the pattern. Well, our pattern here shifts just a little bit. But we can also grab these 4 notes from the 5th. And like I said, it's just incredibly easy to play in because they play almost exactly the same. They're very similar. So it's easy to navigate. Now, granted, you have to learn where your tonics are because your tonics will move. Because here, we have an A here. We have an A here. So these are now going to be this right here. So we just have to find where our new tonics are in this scale, which is very easy to do. So we just found our new tonics, and then we're right back, where we started, and we got a great place to resolve to. Now, the thing I really love about this, remember what I talked about, adding that second and that sixth back in, and this is why I love the fourth position. Because like I said earlier, we love repeating patterns. We love things that are easy. Make sure we're recording. We love things that are easy for us to memorize. Well, if we add that second and that sixth back into the fourth, check this out. We have this fingering here, and it's 15, 13, 12, 15, 13, 12. But this is why I love this one so much. Now we have these three note groupings on 4 strings that we can absolutely just burn through. And the great thing about it is, it's a repeating pattern all the way up. Now the notes will change, and you got a little bit of a stretch, but your fingering is the same. It's always going to be 1, 2, and 4. And you can just absolutely burn through that. So when you're soloing in your minor pentatonic fourth position, you can just do this just massive little burn just to get right out of it. And granted, you will end up down here in your third position, but it's so easy to get right back up, back into your fourth. And you can just sit there and just go crazy in it and have a great time. And Gary Moore was a whiz at using that fourth position, because if you've listened to Still Got the Blues, that main riff is actually written, it centers around the fourth position of the minor pentatonic scale. And of course, if you see right here, remember I said about adding in that second and that sixth? We're still in pentatonic to right here. Right here, we're adding in those notes. And we're adding in that second. So we're slowly dipping into the minor scale when we do that. So those are 2 great positions to use. And like I said, the nice thing about the fourth is the familiarity of the first. It makes it very easy to play in. It's very easy to transition from the first to the fourth. But the thing I like most about it, my little running scale that I do here for the minor is this. And you can see our fingering changes slightly right here. Across 5 strings. So, not complicated. Kind of repeats itself till we get to right here, and then we have to bring finger number 3 into it. But this one, this little 4-note burner, this 4-string burner, which is great for fast runs, legato runs, whatever you want to do, and since it is so repeating, it makes it extremely easy to play. So those are 2 positions that I think everybody really needs to know. And those are my favorite two positions of the pentatonic scale and what I solo mostly in. And now, granted, I do transition in and out of the minor scale. I got to be honest, I kind of transition in and out of everything. You know, remember I said earlier that I think I said it, that this guy said, you know, I watch you play the pentatonic scale and you're adding all these third notes. You know, what are you doing? And I'm just adding a lot of accidentals. I do that all the time, especially if I'm doing a straight run here. I'll add that blue note. Because they're passing tones and they pass through so fast, you really don't hear what's going on. You know, even though a couple of them are out of key, you don't really hear it. Eddie Van Halen does this constantly. I can't think of a single song that he's playing where he's not using a passing tone that's not really in key. You're just blazing through there. And that's one of the things I love to do. And let me show you this real quick. Another reason why I love the first position is because once you get past this, then you can do this fingering all the way down. It'll sound good with all those passing tones in there. So that's what he was talking about, and he was asking me why I do it. And I told him that. I said, because it's just easy for me to stay in my minor pentatonic area and just blaze from top to bottom with a zero thought whatsoever if I want to do just a quick shoot through the scale. And it sounds really good. And like I said, even though those notes are out of key, nobody's going to know the difference because they're literally passing tones, and passing tones are, you know, that's part of playing guitar. You use them. I use them when I play piano. I use them when I play guitar. Use your passing tones, they're great. But the first and the fourth position, I think, are the two that everybody should know. They're very familiar, a lot of repeating in them, easy to find your tonics in them because the licks we already know are already set up for the tonics perfectly. Straight back to your tonic. Straight back to your tonic. Works great with double stops, and when you add in that second and that sixth, you've got some great little blazing passages you can just burn through to get there. Now, there are times when you're going to need to know the rest of them, and like I said, you know, when you're passing through, and that's from Gary Moore's Still Got the Blues, where I'm just passing through all five of them. I'm just moving from one to the other, and I'm stealing a couple notes from each. So it is important that you do learn all five of the positions, but in my opinion, it's incredibly important that you learn position 1 and 4 very, very well, because I do 98% of all my soloing in positions 1 or 4, dipping in and out of the minor scale. You can use the major for the minor. So if you're playing an A pentatonic, and then all of a sudden they're like, well, you know, we're going to play a song in C major. Well, you just make sure that you resolve back to your tonics or start in your tonics and play the same exact stuff. And it works absolutely brilliantly. And on that note, I'm going to wrap it up right there. So please subscribe to my channel. And like the great Sammy Hagar says, if you miss a beat, you lose the rhythm and nothing falls into place. And no matter what you do, for the love of God, rock on.